Over the past 2 Sundays, we have taken our time for all ages to begin to explore the Sufi practice of Sema. Originating with Mevlana Rumi in the mid-13th century, Sema is mystical, ceremonial whirling in the way of the Mevlevi whirling dervishes. At its core, the point of all that turning is remembering. We turn and remember our connection, our oneness with all that lives. As well, this practice allows the one whirling to establish internally a depth of listening, an openness and receptivity. It's a way of saying, I'm here, I'm ready, tell me anything. Have you said that to someone before? Perhaps you've connected with a friend and they're bursting to tell you something, but you're not quite ready to listen or to hear it. So you say, hold on, let me just pull over or flip the laundry or put this down. And then when you're finally fully available for whatever they need to share with you, you announce your readiness. Okay, I'm all yours. You have my full attention. What's up? Well, that's Sema in a nutshell. To show up in a whirling practice is to say, in essence, I am human, my nature is forgetting, my ongoing project is remembering, and listening is part of how I practice. When I'm ready to really listen, I announce my readiness. This is not unique to Sema or to Sufism. Across traditions, there's a dazzling array of practices that encourage our ability to listen deeply. And often there's a built-in pathway, an entrance and an exit that focus or anchor us in our offering. Let me pause there. How do you understand listening? For you, is listening an offering? As usual, I'm not seeking agreement, but I'm curious, and I invite you to ask yourself, do I understand listening as an offering? Pose the question internally and wait for the reply, for the voice of your own inner knowing. For me, your genuine, active listening always feels like an extraordinary offering, and I get to receive it as the gift I believe it to be. This week, we're wrapping up our series on spiritual renewal and repair. One of the listening exercises that we've used repeatedly in our time together is to listen in pairs with timed shares on a single prompt. One half of the pair will share for 2 whole minutes, and the other person will listen without responding in words or sounds. There are many benefits and things worth noticing, and I recommend trying this with someone you care about. If you do, make sure to take turns being the one who listens and the one who shares. There are insights to be had in both roles. As the one sharing, I am somehow always surprised by how strange it feels. I quickly become aware of the generosity of my listener and how much eye contact and body language contribute to my sense of being listened to, being paid the great gift of another's attention. As the one listening, I am intensely aware of and observing my own habits of interrupting, to console, to affirm, to offer a totally unnecessary me too. However well-meaning, my interruptions can easily derail or dissuade someone from reaching the depth of self-discovery and authenticity they were otherwise bravely approaching and ready to offer up. In her book, Soul Medicine for a Fractured World, our recent guest leader and my mentor, Dr. Liza, describes the fruits of these sorts of exercises. She offers listening as a practice of healing, not to judge or criticize, but with the intention of connection. Such listening evokes a profound and reverent sensitivity to what lies beneath the surface, a simultaneous reaching out and receptivity from the belly of being, alert for the scent of what is behind, above, below, between the words spoken and the actions taken. This is listening as a spiritual discipline. Have you listened to a friend share, or maybe overshare, and notice the act of listening as giving in real time? Have you felt the inherent generosity of the thing? Have you arrived at the end of an overly detailed, long-winded recounting of events by some beloved person in your life, and instead of sighing or rolling your eyes or saying TMI, you found it in your capacity to instead offer, is there more? When we make an offering of our listening, we are likely to grow in our ability to be present, patient, accepting, compassionate, and generous with others and with ourselves. A practice of listening is a gateway to uncover and cultivate all these other wonderful attributes. Listening well and truly, no matter who or what you are listening for, is a spiritual practice. And if you've never thought of yourself as someone who has an inclination for spiritual practice or a life of practice, then I recommend intentional listening with your full focus and attention as an excellent place to begin. Our ability to listen is influenced by focus and distraction. Focus, or pure focus, is often the stated goal of meditation. And pure focus and utter distraction are real and rare. These exist relationally on a spectrum so full it's nearly circular. Mostly we are some combination of both focused and distracted simultaneously. In an early sermon of mine here with you, I talked about the 3 spheres of distraction. This is an ancient teaching from the Vedas. I first learned about it from Vedanta scholar and renunciate Swaminiji Saraswati. She offered up that the Sanskrit concept of shanti, often translated in yoga classes and elsewhere as peace, it doesn't really mean peace. It means freedom from distraction. And we say it 3 times because we are asking for freedom from distraction in the 3 spheres of distraction. Shanti, shanti, shanti. There's the outermost sphere, the whole big wide world and all of her problems. There's the next sphere in, the next layer, the concerns of your immediate community, your family, your neighbors, your animals. And finally, there's the innermost sphere, the body and the needs and concerns of the body, the mind, the thoughts, longing, and desires that accompany the mind, our pain and discomfort, our ego at work in the world. It's been helpful to me to use the 3 spheres of distraction and to apply these to my practice of listening. I recommend it to you as a tool for reflection. You might ask yourself, how much listening am I doing in the outermost sphere, How much of my attention is paid to the whole big wide world and all of her problems? And then how much attention is given to my immediate community? How much of my listening happens right here? And then finally, to consider the listening and attention given to our own bodies, minds, pleasures, discomforts. I encourage us to all be curious about what gets our time and attention, our effort and devotion, to notice and observe our patterns, our habits, and our inner landscape. Speaking to the power of distraction in particular, writer and philosopher J.W. Bertolodi offers, your life isn't only what happens to you. It's what you let in. It's what you linger on. It's what you return to. That's why distraction feels strangely hollow. It gives you plenty of stimulation, but very little chosen experience. You don't decide what matters. You drift into what is loud, new, frictionless, and emotionally sticky. And drift becomes a worldview, an unconscious credo. Nothing deserves full presence. Everything can be interrupted. Every quiet moment must be filled. The deeper problem is not that you miss a few minutes. It's that you slowly lose the thread of your own life. You become someone who's always around, but rarely here. We can acknowledge the power of distraction without then judging it as bad or wrong. Both focus and distraction are useful, and it's simply important to know which one you are doing or not doing and why. Most things that distract can focus us when we apply a different intention. Most things can be both. Acquiring and living with the self-awareness that alerts us to our habits and patterns of distraction and focus. This is a primary goal of spiritual practice. Know when you are focusing. Know when you are distracted. Take a wide-angle view. Develop your ability to step outside of yourself, to behold the fullness of the moment, to explore it and examine it. This is what practice gives us, above and beyond anything else it might hope to provide. Self-knowledge, a skillful ability with our inner observer and perspective. You can only control your own actions and reactions. So it's worth growing your self-awareness and then coming to know yourself well, to trust, understand, and value your strengths and your growing edges as aspects of the whole. To be who you are, become all that you are, and then to appreciate you. A final invitation. Find a way to enter and exit with intention from the deepest listening that you do. A way to express and declare your readiness to make an offering of it. I often think of showing up to really listen as a sort of turning on my taxi light, accepting passengers en route to some unknown destination. Get in the habit of saying, I'm ready. And with as much ease, also being able to say, not now, I'm occupying myself or my senses with the comfort of distraction. I'm doing it on purpose. I'm on break. I'm off duty. We are alive in an age of ample distractions. May we choose wisely how and when we participate with them. May we find a balance of focus and distraction that encourages our continued growth and becoming. and invites us to make an offering of our listening with depth and humility. May it be so. Amen, amin, ashe.